Behold thee
riding on the cloud, shining like the sun, at the trumpet call, so lift your head.
Joy is the one thing that we all desire. We want joy in our relationships. We want joys in our careers. We want joy in each and every day that we live, in everything, in every circumstance, in every situation. We want to be able to rejoice. We want that spiritual joy in our life. But what happens? What happens when the relationship is broken or the marriage struggles? What happens when the career doesn't go the way that you thought it would? What happens when during the day someone comes in or something happens and interrupts your joyous day? What happens then? What happens when life doesn't go as planned? What happens to your joy? Well, there are times, and I believe it's during those times, the times that we struggle, that our joy is tested. It is during those times that we find out what kind of joy we really have. Do we have a circumstantial joy, or do we have a spiritual joy? Okay, is it in situations, or is it in God? Is it in the moment, or is it founded upon something greater? Now, if we're honest, and we need to be, we probably all struggle with having that spiritual joy. We struggle with having a joy or a rejoicing the way that Paul did. We remember when Paul said that, in all situations, in all circumstances, and everything, I can rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. We struggle with having that. We struggle with placing our joy in the right person, God. We struggle with placing our joy in the right thing. So the question is, how do we get better at that? How do we get better at having a spiritual joy the way that Paul had it, the way that so many people that maybe those spiritual giants in your life, how can we get a joy like them? Well, first of all, the joy that we all need is solely based on the Lord. It has to revolve around God. That joy has to revolve around God. It has to revolve around who God is. It has to revolve around the promises of God. It can't be based on and it cannot revolve around an emotion. It can't revolve around a circumstance. It can't revolve around an outcome, because when it is, it's simply, that joy again is going to be tossed around like the waves of an ocean. But instead, when you base and you revolve your joy around God and everything that He is, it will remain constant through any emotion and through every circumstance. And I think the real answer, the answer that we all need to hear today, is found in Hebrews chapter 12. I want to read Hebrews 12, verses 1 through 3. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight, every sin that clings to us so closely. Let us run with the endurance the race that is set before us. And here it is, looking to Jesus. So what you do is you get away with the distractions, you do away with those things, you do away with the sin, and you look to Jesus, because He is the founder and the perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before Him endured the cross, despised the shame, and is now sitting at the right hand of God. And then it says this, consider Him who endured from sinners such hostility against Himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. Now, your translation may say, fixing your eyes on Jesus, but the idea that the author has there is that we make firm, or we steady our eyes on Him. We take our eyes off of everything else. We take our attention off of everything else, all the distractions that are going on around us, and we simply fix our minds, our lives, our eyes on Jesus. What that means is we follow Him. We mimic our lives after Him. We love the way that He loved. We challenge sin the way that He did. Okay? We respond to temptation the way that He did. Okay? That means we follow after His footsteps, after His teachings. Why? Because He was perfect. He is the perfecter of our faith. There is no other name on this earth, or ever has been on this earth, that compares to Jesus. There is no other person that has ever lived, ever will live, compares to Jesus, because it is through Him and by Him that we have the hope of eternal life. So that's why we fix our eyes on Jesus. You know, while the world around us is shifting, is changing, while people around us let us down and they hurt us, not Jesus. Not Jesus. He is the one who is always there for us. He is the one that understands. He is the one that has endured the cross, who has despised the shame, who sat down at the right hand of God. Why? Because of the joy that was before him. I like to think of that as the joy that he knew he would be bringing salvation to other people. You see, him bringing salvation to other people was such a joy to him. It helped him, endure the cross. It helped him to see past the cross because he would see the joy that he would be bringing to the lives of so many people that love him. So how do you have spiritual joy? A joy that lasts? Turn your eyes on Jesus. Turn your life towards Jesus. Focus on him more. And the more you focus on Jesus, the more spiritual joy you'll have in your life. Thank you all.
Behold me, riding on the cloud, shining like the sun.